Welcome back. We're diving into one of the most fascinating areas of British coinage, the United Kingdom 2p coin. While most people see the humble 2p as everyday pocket change, the truth is that some rare issues and special conditions have turned certain examples into highly valuable collectibles. Today, we're going to explore the most valuable top 7 United Kingdom 2p and 2 new pence coins in different conditions, especially those struck in copper and copper-nickel alloys, and see just how much they can fetch at auction in big dollars. So let's get started. First up, we'll be diving into the story of a very special coin, the United Kingdom 2p from 1990, in excellent condition. At first glance, the 2p might look like just another piece of pocket change, but for those who know its history, this coin can carry surprising rarity and value, especially in pristine quality. We'll explore its background, unique features, collector demand, and what it could fetch in the auction market in dollars. So, let's uncover the hidden treasure behind this small but mighty coin. The 2p coin was first introduced in 1971 when the UK switched over to the decimal system, replacing the old pre-decimal penny. At that time, the coin was struck in bronze, and the reverse design carried the inscription "New Pence." However, by 1982, this changed to 2p to reflect its permanent status in circulation. By 1990, an important shift occurred. The composition was altered from bronze to copper-nickel plated steel, as bronze had become too expensive to use for everyday coinage. This transition makes the 1990 issue quite significant in the timeline of the 2p coin. It represents the beginning of a new era in the metal composition of UK coinage. The 1992 pence features the crown badge of the Prince of Wales on the reverse side, designed by Christopher Ironside. This emblem, with 3 ostrich feathers emerging from a coronet and the motto, Ich Dien, gives the coin its royal association. On the obverse, you'll find the familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Raphael Maclauff, which was in use from 1985 to 1997. The coin's edge is smooth, its diameter 25.9 millimeters, and its weight around 7.12 grams. But what makes the 1990 issue stand out is its place as one of the early years where the mint experimented with changing the coin's composition, something that makes high-quality surviving pieces especially interesting to collectors. While millions of 2p coins were struck in 1990, the real rarity comes from condition and variations. Coins from circulation are often scratched, discolored, or heavily worn, which reduces their appeal to collectors. But a 1992 pence in excellent condition, especially one that has been preserved in mint state or proof form, is far from common. Collectors are particularly drawn to early copper-nickel plated steel issues, as they marked a major turning point in UK coin production. Because of this, uncirculated or near-perfect examples are in high demand among serious numismatists. So, what is a 1992 pence in excellent condition worth today? Circulated examples usually hold face value, but when you move into the realm of pristine uncirculated or proof quality coins, the story changes. At auctions, superb condition examples can sell for anywhere between $25,150, depending on grading, rarity of the strike, and collector demand. Exceptional cases, such as proof issues still in their original royal mint packaging, can command even higher figures, sometimes pushing beyond $31,200 in the right market. It goes to show that a small coin, usually overlooked, can become a prized collector's item when it survives in flawless condition. If you're interested in owning a 1992 pence, always prioritize condition. Look for coins with minimal wear, sharp details, and original luster. Consider having high-quality pieces professionally graded, as a certified grade can significantly increase auction value. Keep an eye on proof sets from 1990 as well, as these often contain the finest examples of the 2p. And finally, always research recent auction results before buying or selling. Market demand for UK decimal coins is growing, and the value of early copper-nickel strikes is steadily rising. The United Kingdom 2p from 1990 may not be the rarest coin ever struck, but in excellent condition, it represents a valuable piece of numismatic history. It marks the transition from bronze to copper-nickel, carries iconic royal designs, and continues to attract strong collector demand. With auction values climbing into the millions of dollars for top-grade pieces, this is one small coin that proves big treasures. Next up, we're diving into one of the fascinating coins from modern British history, the United Kingdom 2-pence coin from 1992. While most people see the 2-pence as an ordinary, everyday coin, some specific issues from 1992 in very fine condition and beyond have gained attention among collectors. These coins, especially those struck in copper-nickel during this year, have become highly collectible and have commanded surprisingly big values in auction markets, especially when preserved well. Let's explore what makes the 1992 2-pence so interesting and why it has captured the eyes of numismatists worldwide. The 2-pence coin was first introduced in 1971 when Britain switched to the decimal system. From its release until 1991, the 2-pence coin was struck in bronze, giving it a reddish-brown appearance. However, in 1992, due to rising copper prices and the need for cost efficiency, the Royal Mint transitioned the 2-pence coin to a copper-plated steel composition. But here's where the story gets interesting. 1992 was a year of transition, and some pieces were also struck in copper-nickel as trials or transitional errors, making them particularly rare today. This change marked a significant point in the history of British coinage, and coins from this year are now closely studied by collectors. The obverse of the 1992 2-pence coin features the familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Raphael Maklauf, used between 1985 and 1997. On the reverse, you'll find the iconic badge of the Prince of Wales, 3 ostrich feathers emerging from a coronet, with the German motto, Ich diene, meaning, I serve. What makes the 1992 issue stand out is not just its role in the material transition, but also the rarity of the copper-nickel pieces. Most 1992 2-pence coins you'll see are copper-plated steel, but the copper-nickel version is much harder to find, especially in very fine or higher grades. This subtle difference can transform a pocket change coin into a collector's prize. The rarity of the 1992 copper-nickel 2-pence lies in its limited production. Unlike the billions of standard copper-plated steel coins produced, the copper-nickel issues were few in number and possibly unintended for wide circulation. Over the years, most circulated examples have been heavily worn down, making very fine or better condition pieces scarce. Collectors worldwide value transitional coins because they represent a bridge between two coinage eras. The high demand for these coins is fueled by both their historical significance and the thrill of owning a piece of minting history that slipped through as a rarity. When it comes to auction prices, the copper-nickel 1992 2-pence coin in very fine condition has proven to be quite valuable. While standard steel versions are worth only face value, the rare copper-nickel issues have fetched much higher sums. Depending on condition and collector demand at the time of sale, these coins have been known to reach anywhere between $28,200 in very fine condition, with uncirculated or proof-like examples going much higher, sometimes crossing $36,500 in auctions. These values show how a small difference in composition can create a huge difference in market value. If you're looking to add a 1992 2-pence coin to your collection, make sure you're able to tell the difference between copper-plated steel and copper-nickel. A simple magnet test can help. Steel coins will be magnetic, while copper-nickel ones are not. Also, always examine the coin's condition. Very fine examples retain sharp details on the Queen's portrait and the feathers of the Prince of Wales badge. Whenever possible, look for certified and graded coins, especially when buying from auctions, to ensure authenticity and quality. Finally, keep an eye on reputable auction houses and online numismatic forums, as these are often the best places to find rare transitional issues like the 1992 copper-nickel 2-pence. The United Kingdom 1992 2-pence coin in copper-nickel is not just a small piece of change. It's a rare transition coin that tells a story of economic shifts and minting history. While most people overlook the humble 2-pence, sharp-eyed collectors know that this particular issue can be worth a fortune in the right condition. Next up, we're diving into one of the most talked-about coins from the United Kingdom's decimal coinage series, the 2-pence coin from 1976. While at first glance it might seem like just another piece of copper-nickel change, its historical context, rarity in certain conditions, and strong demand among collectors make it a fascinating coin to discuss. We'll explore its background, unique features, collector demand, and just how much this coin can be worth in today's auction market in dollars. The The United Kingdom introduced decimal currency in 1971, replacing the old pounds, shillings, and pence system. Among the new denominations was the 2 pence coin, struck in bronze at the time, though in later years copper-plated steel became common. The 1976 issue falls right in the middle of the early decimal years and carries a lot of historical importance. This was a period when Britain was adjusting to its new coinage system, and millions of these coins entered everyday circulation. But even though large numbers were minted, most were heavily used, making higher-grade examples in fine or better condition increasingly difficult to find today. The 1976 2 pence coin is made of copper-nickel bronze and has a diameter of 25.9 millimeters. On the obverse, you'll find the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin, which was used on British coins from 1968 until 1984. This portrait shows the Queen wearing the Girls of Great Britain and Ireland tiara. On the reverse is the famous badge of the Prince of Wales, consisting of 3 ostrich feathers encircled by a coronet with the motto, Ich diene, meaning I serve. Beneath the design, the denomination reads New Pence, a feature that was later replaced with just 2 pence starting in 1982. This subtle detail makes the New Pence versions highly collectible today. Although millions of 1976 2 pence coins were minted, rarity is not simply about numbers. Instead, it's about survival and condition. The majority of these coins were heavily circulated, scratched, and worn down. Finding a coin from 1976 in fine condition or above is becoming much less common, especially since collectors tend to secure the best examples quickly. Furthermore, there is an added demand due to the New Pence inscription, which only lasted until 1981. Collectors are eager to complete their decimal coin collections, and the 1976 issue has become a staple piece for anyone aiming to own a coin from the mid-1970s transitional period. So what is a 1976 2 pence coin in fine condition worth today? While circulated examples might not fetch much more than their face value, the story changes when we step into the auction world. In fine to very fine condition, collectors often pay anywhere between $22,500 depending on demand. Coins in extremely fine or uncirculated condition can sell for $25,000 at auctions, especially if they have a bright, untarnished finish. Special presentation strikes or proof sets featuring this coin can reach even higher values, sometimes surpassing $35,200 in rare cases. These auction results show just how far a once ordinary coin has come in terms of collector appeal. If you are thinking of adding a 1976 2 pence coin to your collection, here are some tips. Always check the condition. First, even small scratches can greatly reduce its value. Store your coin properly in protective holders or coin albums to prevent further wear. Be cautious of polished coins while shiny. Polishing reduces numismatic value. If you find one in change, don't overlook it. Have it appraised by a reputable dealer. Finally, keep an eye on auction houses and online platforms, as prices fluctuate based on collector interest. The 1976 United Kingdom 2 pence coin may have started its life as just an everyday piece of change, but today it carries a story of history, transition, and increasing rarity. In fine condition, it represents not just monetary value but also a slice of Britain's numismatic heritage. Whether you're a seasoned collector or just starting your journey, this coin is one to watch in the auction market, where its value continues to rise in dollars. So, the next time you come across a 2 pence coin from 1976, don't just pass it off as ordinary pocket change. It could be a hidden gem waiting to be treasured. Next up, we'll be diving into the world of British decimal coins and exploring one of the most interesting pieces, the United Kingdom 2 pence coin from 1987. Now, you might be wondering, how can an ordinary 2 pence coin be considered rare or valuable? The truth is, while millions were minted, certain conditions, historical factors, and collector demand have made some of these coins more desirable than you might expect. And yes, some of these humble coins can reach surprising prices in the auction market, even in circulated fine condition. The 2 pence coin was first introduced in 1971 when the United Kingdom switched to decimal currency. The design has remained largely consistent over the years, with only a few minor updates. The 1987 2-pence coin came during a period when these coins were minted in large quantities for circulation, meaning they were everyday pocket change for millions of people across Britain. However, like many other coins, the passage of time and the changes in metal composition play a big role in their modern rarity. Early 2-pence coins, including the 1987 issue, were struck in bronze, before the switch to copper-plated steel in 1992. This detail makes them particularly attractive to collectors who want a piece of pre-1990s coinage history. The 1987 2-pence coin features a crown badge of the Prince of Wales on the reverse side, which includes a plume of 3 ostrich feathers within a coronet. Beneath the coronet, you'll see a ribbon bearing the German motto, Ich diene, meaning I serve. On the obverse, we find the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Raphael Maclauff, a design used on UK coinage from 1985 until 1997. The inscription around the portrait reads, Elizabeth II DG Reg. FD 1987, standing for De Gratia Regina Fidei Defensatrix, or by the grace of God, Queen, Defender of the Faith. In circulated fine condition, much of the detail may be softened, but the main designs are still visible, making it an appealing piece of everyday history. Now, let's talk about what makes this coin rare and why collectors chase it. At first glance, the 1987 2-pence doesn't seem like a rare issue because millions were minted, but the real rarity lies in survival. Many of these coins have been lost, damaged, or melted down over time. Finding one in circulated fine condition is not difficult, but finding coins that retain strong details, with no corrosion or heavy scratches, is becoming less common. Additionally, collectors of decimal coins often want to complete a full-date run, which drives demand for specific years like 1987. Even ordinary-looking dates gain value when there's consistent demand from collectors worldwide. So, what's the market value of the 1987 2-pence in fine circulated condition? Generally, these coins are worth a little more than face value, often selling for $23,100 in typical circulated grades. However, the story doesn't end there. Well-preserved coins with minimal wear can fetch higher prices, especially when sold in bulk sets or as part of a collection. In some auction markets, especially online platforms where international collectors compete, individual coins from 1987 have been known to sell for $36,500, depending on condition and presentation. While you might not retire on a single coin, collectors know that small values add up, especially when building sets of rare years. If you're looking to collect the 1987 2-pence, here are a few tips. First, always pay attention to condition. Even in circulated fine grade, look for coins with clear details and minimal damage. Secondly, keep an eye out for unusual varieties or minting errors, as error coins can dramatically increase value. Third, store your coins properly. Bronze coins are particularly vulnerable to tarnishing and corrosion, so a dry, protective holder is essential. Finally, buy from trusted sources, whether local dealers, auctions, or online marketplaces, to ensure authenticity and fair pricing. The United Kingdom 1987 2-pence coin may seem like an ordinary piece of pocket change, but it carries with it a rich history, iconic designs, and growing collector interest. While millions were minted, its bronze composition, association with Queen Elizabeth II's mid-reign portrait, and the steady demand from decimal collectors all contribute to its appeal. In fine circulated condition, these coins may only bring modest values, but they represent a fascinating chapter in British coinage, and sometimes, modest coins today can become tomorrow's treasures. Next up, we're diving into a fascinating piece of British coinage, the United Kingdom 2-pence coin from the year 1991. At first glance, it might appear like just another common coin from everyday change, but when preserved in very fine condition, this coin reveals its true potential in the collector's market. We'll explore its history, unique features, rarity, demand among collectors, and of course, the surprising auction market values in dollars. So, let's uncover the hidden story behind this small, yet powerful piece of British currency. The 2-pence coin was first introduced in 1971 as part of the decimalization of British currency. It replaced the old penny system and quickly became a standard part of everyday circulation. By 1991, the 2-pence coin had been circulating for 20 years, But this year marked a very special point in its history. While the coin's design remained consistent, 1991 was significant because it was the last year the 2 pence was struck in its original copper and nickel alloy. Afterward, the Royal Mint transitioned to copper-plated steel, making the earlier issues more desirable to collectors who value originality and quality. The 1991 2 pence coin carries the familiar portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Raphael Maklauf, which was used on UK coins between 1985 and 1997. The reverse features the badge of the Prince of Wales, with the 3 ostrich feathers and the motto, Ich dien, meaning, I serve. This design was created by Christopher Ironside and remains one of the most iconic reverse designs in British coinage. The coin weighs 7.12 grams and measures 25.9 millimeters in diameter, with its distinctive copper-nickel shine, a detail that sets it apart from the later steel versions. While millions of 2 pence coins were minted over the decades, the 1991 issue in copper-nickel is now becoming harder to find in high-quality conditions. Most circulated coins from that year have been heavily worn, scratched, or discolored due to constant use. Finding one in very fine condition is not as easy as it might seem, which is exactly why collectors are showing more interest in them. The demand is also boosted by the historical transition in metal composition after 1991. Collectors often seek out these last of the original alloy coins, and auction houses have seen increasing numbers of bids whenever well-preserved examples come under the hammer. Now, let's talk about the exciting part: value. In circulated condition, the 1991 2 pence coin may not fetch much above its face value. However, in very fine condition, the coin can attract collectors willing to pay anywhere from $25,000, depending on the quality and luster. For coins in even higher grades, extremely fine or uncirculated, the auction value can climb significantly, sometimes reaching $50,000 for a particularly pristine example. It may not sound like life-changing money, but considering it's a coin that many people still overlook in their change, its potential value in the collector's world is impressive. If you're looking to collect or sell a 1991 2 pence coin, always pay attention to the condition. Look for coins with clear details on both the Queen's portrait and the Prince of Wales badge. Avoid coins with scratches, discoloration, or dents, as these lower the value significantly. Storing your coin in a protective holder can help preserve its shine and prevent further damage. Also, when buying or selling, make sure to check auction sites and dealer listings to compare prices, as values can vary depending on demand at the time. So there you have it, the story of the United Kingdom 2 pence 1991 coin in very fine condition. What looks like a simple piece of pocket change actually carries historical importance, unique design features, and surprising market value in the world of collectors. If you happen to come across one in your collection, don't overlook it. You might just be holding a little piece of history that's worth far more than 2 pence. Next up, we're diving into the fascinating world of British decimal coinage with a focus on the United Kingdom's 2 new pence coin from 1971. At first glance, this coin may look like just another piece of small change, but for collectors, it holds significant historical importance. While most of these coins were heavily circulated and considered rare, certain factors, including condition, provenance, and collector demand, have elevated their status in the numismatic world. We'll uncover the story behind the 1971 2 new pence coin, why it matters, and how much it can fetch in the auction market in dollars. The 1971 2 new pence coin marks a key moment in British history: decimalization. On the 15th of February, 1971, the United Kingdom transitioned from the centuries-old system of pounds, shillings, and pence to a simpler decimal currency. This coin was one of the first decimal issues and was minted in massive numbers to help the public adapt to the new system. Made of copper-nickel, the coin was intended for everyday use, which means millions went into circulation and very few remained in pristine condition. Over time, many coins were either lost, damaged, or withdrawn, which makes the surviving examples in collectible condition more desirable today. The design of the 1971 2 new pence coin is both simple and symbolic. On the obverse, you'll find a youthful portrait of Queen Elizabeth II, designed by Arnold Machin. This portrait was used on UK coins between 1968 and 1984, giving the coin a distinct connection to the early years of decimalization. On the reverse, you'll see the Prince of Wales's feathers emblem, consisting of 3 ostrich feathers emerging from a coronet, with the motto, Ich diene, which means, I serve. Unlike later issues, the 1971 version carries the wording new pence instead of 2 pence, highlighting its introduction during the transitional period of decimal currency. This little detail sets it apart and makes it especially important to collectors. Now, you might be wondering, if millions were minted, how could this coin be considered rare? The answer lies in condition and collector interest. While circulated 1971 2 new pence coins are common, finding one in exceptional condition with minimal wear is increasingly difficult. Coins that have survived decades of circulation but still retain strong details and luster attract strong interest among collectors. Additionally, the historical significance of 1971 being the first decimal year boosts demand. Collectors of both modern and historical British coins often seek this coin as a foundational piece for their collections. In terms of value, the majority of 1971 2 new pence coins in average circulated condition are worth only a modest amount, typically around $30,000. However, higher-grade circulated examples, those with less wear, good details, and original shine, can reach higher values in collector markets, sometimes fetching $35,000 at auctions. Exceptional coins with almost uncirculated or uncirculated features can bring even stronger bids, with some examples going beyond $50,000 depending on demand and auction competition. So while the coin may not make you instantly rich, it certainly carries a value far above its original face worth. If you're interested in collecting the 1971 2 new pence coin, here are a few tips. First, always check the condition of the coin. Sharp details, minimal scratches, and a bright surface make a big difference in value. Second, look for coins that still carry their original luster, as these are the most appealing to buyers. Third, consider investing in protective holders to prevent further wear if you find a good specimen. Finally, always buy or sell through trusted numismatic dealers or reputable auctions to ensure authenticity and fair pricing. The United Kingdom's 2 new pence coin from 1971 is more than just a piece of small change. It represents a turning point in British monetary history, carries unique design features, and continues to attract collector interest decades later. While circulated examples may not always command huge sums, those in better condition can fetch impressive prices in the auction market, making it a worthy coin to watch out for. So next time you come across a 1971 2 new pence in your old coin jars or family collections, take a closer look. It could be worth more than you think. Next up, we are diving into one of the most fascinating coins of the decimal era, the United Kingdom 2 new pence from 1979, especially in very good condition. While at first glance this coin may look like an ordinary piece of change, collectors know that certain editions and conditions of these coins can hold surprising value. Today, we'll uncover the story behind the 1979 2 new pence, explore its historical significance, unique features, rarity, and reveal how much these coins can fetch at auction in dollars. So, if you've ever wondered whether that copper nickel coin sitting in your drawer is worth more than face value, you're in the right place. The United Kingdom introduced the decimal system of currency in 1971, replacing the old pounds, shillings, and pence system that had been in use for centuries. As part of this modernization, the 2 new pence coin was released to fill a small but important gap in everyday transactions. By 1979, the coin was already familiar in circulation, but this year marks an interesting time in British numismatics. The coin was minted in large numbers at the Royal Mint, and while the design itself wasn't new, its place in the broader story of decimalization makes it historically significant. Importantly, these early new pence coins would soon be phased out in 1982, when the wording on the reverse changed from new pence to 2 pence. This makes the 1979 issue one of the last of its kind. The 1979 2 new pence coin was struck in copper nickel, unlike the later versions which were produced in bronze. On the obverse, it carries the portrait of Queen Elizabeth II by Arnold Machin, one of the most iconic designs of the time, showing the Queen wearing the tiara she received as a wedding gift. On the reverse, you'll find the distinctive badge of the Prince of Wales, a plume of 3 ostrich feathers within a coronet, with the motto, Ich diene, meaning, I serve. The inscription New Pence sits proudly above the number 2. Its clean, bold design made it easily recognizable, but it's these very details that now give the coin its collector appeal, especially as part of the early decimal series. At first glance, the 1979 2 New Pence doesn't seem rare. Millions were struck. But rarity in numismatics is not only about mintage figures, it's about survival in high condition. Most of these coins circulated heavily, leaving scratches, dulling of surfaces, and significant wear. Finding an example in very good condition, with clear details on the Queen's portrait and the reverse design still sharp, is much less common than you might think. Collectors are particularly drawn to these coins because they represent the final years of the New Pence inscription. With the change in 1982, the earlier issues became sought after by those who collect complete decimal sets. This demand has only grown over the years, especially in international markets where British coinage holds global appeal. So, what about the money? A circulated 1979 2 New Pence in average condition might only be worth a little over face value. However, once you get into coins in very good to extremely fine condition, the value climbs. At auctions, well-preserved examples can fetch anywhere between $25,000, depending on eye appeal and grading. Coins in near mint or uncirculated condition have been known to command even higher prices, sometimes exceeding $45,100 when the right bidders are involved. It may not be the rarest coin in the world, but for a piece of pocket change from the late 1970s, this represents a remarkable increase in value. If you're interested in adding the 1979 2 New Pence to your collection, here are a few tips. First, focus on condition. Coins with strong luster, minimal wear, and no major scratches will always command higher prices. Second, consider certification. Having your coin graded by a trusted authority like PCGS or NGC can significantly increase its market value. Third, keep an eye on auction houses and online platforms where British decimal coins are gaining traction. Finally, remember that building a complete set of New Pence issues from 1971 to 1981 is a great way to enhance your collection, with the 1979 edition playing a key role. The 1979 United Kingdom 2 New Pence coin may be the rarest piece of currency ever minted, but in very good condition, it has become a collectible treasure. Its role in the history of Britain's transition to decimalization, its distinctive design, and the shift away from the New Pence inscription all contribute to its desirability among collectors. Whether you own one already or are considering seeking one out, this coin proves that even everyday change can hold hidden value. So, next time you come across a 1979 2 New Pence, take a closer look. It just might be worth much more than you think. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more deep dives into rare and valuable coins from around the world.